I hope both the screens are visible to you all. Eclipse and the documentation, right, guys? Am I audible? You are able to see both the screens, right? Okay, so what you have to do to make a Hibernate project, first go and make a new Maven project. So go to File, go to New. If you can see it over here, well, let's go to Other, search for Maven, and you see a Maven project. Double click that. Okay, scroll down to the next page. Next page, what you have to do is just click Next. Don't do anything over here, just click on Next. Simply click Next. Do not modify any settings. Third page, go to Arch type. Okay, type quick over there. Catalog, choose internal. In the catalog, choose internal, and in the filter, quick. Type quick. So it will give you artifact. Okay, it will give you an artifact. Choose that artifact and click on next. Okay, then now here you have to make the base package. So make it form.itp, and the artifact name is the name of the project. Okay, so what are we following? We are following itp Shivam Hibernate. Okay, so this artifact ID will be the name of the project, which will reflect on the project explorer, and then it will combine the group ID and the artifact and form a base package. If you want, you can change the name of the base package if you wish to, else you keep it same. If you want to change it, you can change it, or if you want to keep it same, you can keep it same. And then you can click on finish, and now it is ITP. Okay, it is building the project, so don't rush. Let it completely build the project. Okay, and if at 33% the project gets stuck, okay, at times at 33% it will get stuck. Okay, so it will ask you to enter a Y at the bottom. See over here, enter a capital Y and hit enter, and the build will success. And you should show that you should be able to see it. ITP Shivam Hibernate. Okay, so your project will be shown over here. And as it is a Maven project, so if you remember when we did Spring Core, we had to manually add all those jars. So download the jars and keep it on the hard disk, and go to your build path and add all those jars manually, if you remember. See, all these jars we had to add manually. But in Maven, all this is taken care by the Maven build system. So it has a file called as form.xml. So whichever jar file you want to download, all you have to do is just add a dependency. So now see, only one dependency is added, that is for JUnit, that is for testing. So if you go to the Maven dependencies, there will be a jar file for testing over here. See, whatever dependency you have added, JUnit, that jar file is added over here. So if you want to now do for Hibernate, then you have to add the jars for Hibernate. Okay, this we have done. So what you have to go to Google and type for Hibernate Maven. So just search Hibernate Maven dependency, or just and go to the first one, Hibernate core. Okay, and for uniformity that we all are on the same platform, I'm sticking to a particular version. So let's take this version, 5.5.7 for uniformity. So Control F, 5.5.7. Okay, and you can click on this, and in the Maven, so there are many build systems over here. Gradle also is a build system. These two are used in the industry a lot. So in the Maven tab, just click over here, and it will automatically select for you You just have to right click and copy it and paste it in the form.xml in the dependencies tab. Okay, so this is one dependency already there. Underneath that, okay, within the dependencies parent, okay, you paste one more dependency. Okay, if you want to format it, you can do a control shift F. And now as I save, you observe that there will be a progress bar running on the bottom right. As I click on save, you will see a progress bar running on the bottom right. If you are doing this for the first time, it will download this jar file from the web URL which we have specified over here. Okay, and if you are doing it for second time, then once it downloads them onto the local hard disk, okay, once it downloads them in the local hard disk, the next time it will only fetch from the hard disk, it will not download. So first time when you are doing this, your internet connection should be on, because Maven will be downloading all these jars file from the internet. And now it has done it. To cross check, expand your Maven dependencies. Okay, I'm in the ITB Shivam application, and now if you see, earlier there was only one jar file. Now see, it has done host of jar files, it has downloaded, and I have not done anything. I have just added the dependency in the form XML and clicked on save. After clicking on save, if it doesn't show, then you can do a Maven update. So right click, go to Maven and do a update project. So if you normally when you save it, will add all the jars. If after saving you do not see the jar has been downloaded and you want to explicitly do a project update, you can do this also. Okay, so which project? This one. Okay, so save activity is happening, but so normally when we save, it downloads all the jars. Okay, so all setup has been done. So if you change the version, the jar files will change. So this step is done. You're able to see my screen, right, guys? So let's go ahead now. This is done. This is done. The dependency has been added. So just in the dependencies tab, I added this dependency. Now, as we are going to do a database connection, you can add the depend. So earlier, what we would do, add the jar for the database explicitly. Now, what you can do is just add a dependency. So my version is 5.1.15. So I'm using this version. You all can use version 8.0.3. Those are the latest MySQL workbench. Those guys can use the latest version. So my version is 8.1. So if you remember, if you cross check, so let's say when I was doing first MVC, we added a jar file. Okay, let's simply will do the JDBC part. So when we were doing servlet, when we were doing servlet, we had to add the jar file src main web app web inf lib. So what was the version of my jar file? You go and check that. Whatever version is there, mine was 5.1.15. So my MySQL connector. So this is a dependency, MySQL connector Java. So for this dependency, you have to specify the version. I am giving the version which my laptop supports. You can use the version which your laptop supports. So in your my connector, whatever version it is showing at the end, you can add that. So if you're confused, the latest version is 8.0.33. You can use this one, 8.0.33. But I'll go with 5.1.1. Okay, so now see, if you check, I have not saved it yet. I haven't saved this code yet. So ITP Shivam Hibernate is the MySQL jar showing over here. Do you see any MySQL jar? Any M H H J J B A A? Nothing, right? Now as I click on save, you will see a refresh has happened and you see a MySQL connector jar has come. So Maven takes care of all the external dependencies which are there to our project. So instead of now I manually and physically searching for the jars file, downloading them on my laptop, Right click on the project, go to build path, configure build path, add all the jars externally. Maven, just you have to give which dependency you want to add, and it will add that dependency. So directly you can go and search over here, and just Google it. MySQL just say MySQL Maven dependency. When you come over here, go to this MySQL connector, and then it will show you. So this is the latest which is going on in the market, 8.0.33. Click on this and just copy this and paste it in your dependence. This is the same thing which I have done over here. Okay, so in the documentation I have mentioned for my version, you can use the version which you have. Okay, now once this is done, now we need to do some configurations. Okay, these are always configurations there when you're communicating with the database, and Hibernate is a layer over JDBC. So we have to do some database configurations like what driver we are using, username, password, all that stuff, which we are familiar from the days of JDBC. So now where do we need to put the configuration? Always take note of it. Okay, in the Maven have dependencies, to just cross check, make sure that you have this Hibernate core. Okay, this is the main file which should be there. So in the Maven dependencies, you should see Hibernate core is there. If this file is not there, then you have to go and download it explicitly and then add it as external jar. But normally Maven will download it for us. Now let's configure the hibernate.cfg.xml file. If you remember when I was doing Spring Core, if I was when I was doing Spring Core, the name of the XML file I was giving it as per user discretion, whatever name you want to give. So I had also kept a name application hyphen context or my bean.xml, whatever name you can give. The same is for Hibernate also. You can give any name for the configuration file, but Hibernate recommends a name. Hibernate recommends a name that if you use this name, it will be helpful. So the recommendation of Hibernate is hibernate.cfg.xml. And now way to make this file, see I'm showing it very step by step. On the src main Java, right click, new, and make a file where src main Java. So over here, see src main Java, right click, new, make a, so you can make a file or you can make a XML file, whatever. Okay. So let's try to go back over here. src main Java, right click, new, make a file, and try to give this name hibernate.cfg.xml, and you can finish this. Okay, make sure the path of it is in main Java. Finish. So here you have the Hibernate configuration file, and now what to put in this configuration file? I mentioned the documentation. First, you make the version. Okay, so for XML document, the versioning should be there. This is called as a prologue. Okay, so save this, and now we need to add some more DTD. So you can go to Google and search for Hibernate DTD. So come here and search for Hibernate DTD. This first, okay, is all there the document. Okay, click on the index of DTD, and then which file to choose? Hibernate configuration 3.0.dtd. Hibernate configuration 3.0.dtd. As you click on it, it will download. As you click, it will download this file. Then you can open this file up in a notepad, and from that file, copy the line number 3, 4, and 5. Copy the file, copy the lines 3, 4, and 5. Okay, copy the lines 3, 4, and 5. So copy these three lines and paste it below the XML tag. So where is my Eclipse? Paste it below over here. Okay. Don't give any space. Just keep it over here and save. So this code I have also mentioned in the document. If you want to directly, you can take it from here also. Is the same code. This was a screenshot. So you cannot copy from there. You can copy from here. So once that is done, now we have to give some configuration. So if you remember, to create a session, what do I require first? The session factory. I require a session factory. So session factory is that object which will require the driver name, the database name, the user name, the password. All these are needed by the session factory to establish the connection. So once the session factory is there, then I can create a session. So now how to provide that? So that we will provide the configurations over here. How to do that over here? I've shown over here. So you can say, okay, just copy this code, session factory, just copy this much code and place it underneath over here. Okay. And then now you can choose whatever driver. So this is my driver. You can choose your database name. So what is the database name? We have ITP2DB. Okay. Or if you want, you can make a new database ITP2DB Hibernate or ITP2 Hibernate DB, whatever name you want to give to the database. But make sure this database is there in configured. Okay, and this database is there created. So let me go and check if I have a database by this name. I go to my local host. I have ITP2DB, but I want to push all that into one database. Spring Core, Spring MVC, JDBC, everything is in one database. So I'll make a separate database. Yeah, so it should be created. You have to just be aware it is created. Yeah, so it is done. So these are all more or less configuration files. Database is there, username is root, password is blank. I don't have any password. Dialect is okay. If you are using 8.0.33, you can use MySQL 8 dialog. Okay, I am using version 5, so I am using 5 dialect. I will explain these three settings later on. As of this much is more than sufficient. You can just save. And let's fall back on the document. Let's say we are referring it line by line. Okay, once this is done, okay, then database should be created. I have done that. Now we have to go and make the session factory. So now we have to go and make the driver app. So as over here, this is the base package. So in the base package only make the extension. Make a new. So for the always for the main we always make the app package. Okay, so okay, this contains main I guess by default. This contains a class main. Yeah, this contains a main class by default. So remove this hello world sample code and write this code over there. This will create the factory. This will create the factory. Okay, this will create the factory. But then again we have to create the session. Do a control shift O configuration. You can use all from Hibernate CFG. Okay, once the factory is done, then with the help of the factory we can create the session later on. Okay, so just to cross check the factory has been made, you can do a sys out and just display the factory. So this is the interface. So it will show a name of the implementation class object. So this much is done. Just right click, run as Java application. Let's check if the implementation class object reflects on the console means we are good to go. Yeah, see, session factory object is displaying. Now to check the factory is open or closed. And the factory has been opened now. So I will just check factory dot is closed. So it will show me false because factory is open. So it is showing false, the factory is open. So try to achieve till this configuration, guys. So follow the. So here when we have created the factory object, what do you think we have created? The green or the orange? Yes, guys. Am I audible and my screen visible to you all? Green. But who does all the interaction with the database, green or orange? So using this session factory, we have to create what? Session. So using this factory, we will create a session and to okay session from your this okay use this from the org Hibernate transaction and now to fire DML queries. Okay, whenever you do a DML, that is insert update delete, we need to commit the data. So for that we will use the transaction. So first we will make a factory, session factory. Session factory, using that session factory we will make a new session. So open session means we are starting a new session and the session ID, let's say session 1. In that session 1 I have started a new transaction. So this should be the hierarchy. From session factory we will make a session and within a session I will make a transaction. So whatever DML operations we are doing, this transaction management will help us commit all those transactions. So to create a session, I need a session factory. To create a transaction, I need a session. So this is the hierarchy. So I have made the session using the factory object and I have made the transaction using the session object. Now once this all is done, now will be the actual ORM flavor we'll have. So what is the actual flavor of ORM? Going forward, we do not have to write any SQL query. All we need to do is so the table creation and all the your SQL queries will be managed by all by Hibernate. So if I have to make a table by the name employee in the database, what do I have to do in Hibernate? Just make a class by that name annotated with entity. So all these will be my entity classes. So I'll have a new package. So keep an extension to the same package. Right click, new, make a package by the name dot entity. Keep the base package as same. Don't fidget with the base package and make all the other packages as an extension of your base package. And in the entity package, new and make a class by the name employee. Okay. And now whatever attributes you want to give, you can pass over here. Whatever. Now all the stuff which we have been doing all this while, you can do over here. Employee number, private string, e-name, private double salary, blah blah blah. Data, constructors, setter, getters. You can make whatever you want. Okay, but do not write the business logic over here. No, don't write any code over here. If I'm having an all args constructor, it is appreciated that you also have a no args constructor. All the data are private, so it is appreciated that you have setter getters to access that data. And if you want to display the object as a whole, you can write to so my plain old Java object. Now when I run this code, will a table be created in the database with the name employee? So if the class name is employee, SQL is all small. The table name will be small employee. Okay, so if your class name is permanent employee, so if you write it in Pascal case, so the class name will become permanent and wherever the next capital occurs, it will add a underscore. This is the style of how your Hibernate will convert a class name into a table name. So if it is only a single word, so we'll have small, and if there are multiple words, then it will be all small separated by an underscore. So you can observe that when we run the code. Now, will a table be so by what name will the table be created if I run this code? Any guesses? Yes, no, maybe, guys. Are you all sure? No. Table will only be created for those classes which are annotated with entity, and annotations are all in capital, starts with a capital, okay? And annotations are in Pascal case, and use the entity from persistence. Don't use the entity of Hibernate. Use the entity from where? Java X persistence. And now is it fine? Now will the class be created? No. Every entity class must compulsory have a primary key. So ID from where? Persistence. Now it is good. Now one thing more we have to do. So if I buy a flat, what do I do? First thing first, when I get possession, once I pay the first installment, I do the registration, correct? So you have to register all your entity classes with the CFG over here. Okay, you have to register them all over here. How to do that? I have mentioned over here in the document. So if you read the document, I have mentioned how to do the registration. So register C over here, and I have written over here the mapping should be placed inside the session factory tag. Should be placed inside the session factory. So mapping class. Now give the fully qualified name of this class. What is it? Fully qualified name of the class you have to give. So now Hibernate is aware that it needs to create a table for this class. So now, okay, what is the what should be the create table for this? So if you want to see that, you can give the settings over here. That please show me the SQL. So behind the scenes, what SQL is being run? Behind the scenes, what SQL is being run? If you want to see those query on the console, you can write over here that show me the SQL. So if you have only this tag, if you have only the line tag on line number 14, and if you don't want that, if you don't write the tag 15, then it will show you the entire statement in one line. Create table employee e number integer primary key comma e name varchar of 100 whatever comma sal decimal of 5 comma 2. It will show you all the detail in one single line. That is called as show SQL. But if you want it properly formatted, that each column should be on a new line like this. If you want to see it formatted, the SQL query. For that, we write over here, format the SQL query. So this is what these two tags do. Okay. So now when I run this code, you will see behind the scenes what happens. So run. Okay. Clear the slate. Stop everything. Clear the slate. Right click. Right. Run as Java application, and you will see that behind the scenes, whatever queries I see, Hibernate is executing this query. So means when I go to the database, when I go to my database and I refresh this, one table should have been created by the name employee. See over here, and that table should have attributes as e number, e name, and salary. See. So this is what is the beauty of Hibernate. Now you are relieved from writing all the DDLs. Okay, now I want to insert an object into this. So what was the requirement in Hibernate? You just give the object to the session and you call the save method. That object gets saved in the database. So now let's come over here. So and let's try to do a demo. Okay, so for every task, I'll make a new driver app so that y'all can, okay, app, okay, say app for save, and Yeah, so we've done the connection, everything is done. Now I want to first create an object of that class. So ORM means just you need to create an object, and import it to the separate package. And using this session, you just call the save method. That's all. And as it is a DML activity, do a commit. So for commit, I will use a transaction object which I have done. So do tx dot commit. That's all. ORM will take care of your other behind the scenes. So behind the scene, when I do say which query will be executed, behind the scenes, which query will be executed, which SQL query will be executed to add this record, insert query. If so, I want to see that insert query. So for that, I have given the configuration over here that please show me the SQL query and format it. So show me properly values, these values I'm inserting, everything. So if you come now here, okay, and let's save it. See, right now there is no record. When I click on this table, there are no records. Nothing is showing over here. Nothing is showing. Now let's come and save this and run this code and check. Run as Java application. So if you maximize the console, see, it has shown me the insert query over here. And now let's go and check in the database. And if you see over here, that record will reflect over here. How was that? So this is what I was explaining in the theoretical part in Hibernate, that you have to just make an entity class, table will be created, make an object, give it to the session, call the appropriate method of the session, whatever task you want to do, and that session has all the inbuilt capabilities of JDBC. So Hibernate is a wrapper on top of JDBC. So behind the scene, JDBC only is working. If you see on the console, I am showing you all what is happening behind the scene. Is that making sense?